I'm a business owner and I want to leverage my business on YouTube. What is my advantage, or what are the advantages that I can get from that?
When you can put an ad in front of somebody that's on a certain desire path and you have a better solution for them, that's the gold, right? So that's called placements. That's the type of targeting it is. So you find videos that allow ads that are talking about the problem that you have a solution for. And then you can say, hey, before you watch this video on this, I have a better, easier, softer, more whatever. And that also helps with the education, the education piece, because if you can deliver better than that video they just watched, they'll be like, oh yeah, that ad probably has my solution, but this video doesn't, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You said a couple of keywords that I think are important. You said scripting. You talked before about not having a high production on videos, just, bring something of quality content and put it out there, but you don't need to have a complete Hollywood production behind it. And, that leads me to this question, which is, no matter what your business is, there's a lot of people who say they don't have time for it, right? And scripting takes maybe some time. And depending on the level of scripting, there's equipment, there's maybe lighting, maybe backdrops, etc. So what advice would you give for anybody that has a business that should be on YouTube, which I'm assuming maybe all businesses should have at least some presence because of the age we live in today? But what advice do you have for these business owners who say they don't have time or don't have the know-how on creating videos and YouTube posts?
I think it's analysis paralysis, right? Everybody wants things to be perfect. And so that's really the barrier of entry for a lot of people, is that they do think that they need all of that. I mean, like even now, I haven't shot videos personally myself. However, if I was going to, this would be the setup. And this is like my little webcam is, I think, I don't know, less than $100. One softbox light, maybe $50. I have a snowball microphone, but right now I'm just using my computer because it sounds better. It's closer to me. Boom, done. That's all you need. And I'm a proponent for, and don't spend money until you're making money, right? So don't go into buying the latest, greatest, bestest camera, tripod, soft boxes, sound. You know what I mean? Like, don't spend a couple of $1,000s if you're not going to make a video. Start making videos, and then you'll find your voice. And this is the other thing. Like, if you look back to like a Marie Forleo, I use her as an example a lot because when she started, it was on her laptop, looking at the camera here, sitting at her kitchen table. And she just kept every week creating content every week. And then she starts to get her voice. She starts to get her stride. You can watch her testing different things over a period of time. And then now look at her. She has a high production studio with a staff, they do all of these things. It's just getting started. And I think this is like one of the funny things is everyone's always afraid that, they're going to make a fool of themselves, or, and I say this with love. The chances of anybody seeing your video is really slim in the beginning, right? You might get 1 or 2 viewers. So stop putting so much pressure on yourself to be perfect, because you're probably not going to get viewers in the beginning. I'm sorry, but this is just the reality, unless you do advertising. So just get in the consistency of doing it. And like before, I used to do Google Hangouts. That's how I would do videos. Just turn it on. And now, I want to say this for your audience and for you as well. If you look at YouTube priorities for 2021, live video is where it's at. Shorts and live video. And so just pop open your laptop and go live for 10 minutes. And don't let just go on and talk. And I think I told you this too. I'm like, just go on and talk for 10 minutes. You have an inspiration, go on and talk for 10 minutes. Don't worry if you don't get feedback, because remember, on YouTube, the difference between a Facebook Live and a YouTube Live is it's searchable forever. A Facebook Live just gets buried down and there's no keywords or anything to look for. And that's the easiest way to create content. You have a genius like, oh, I want to talk about this. Boom, do a live, talk about it, shut it down, and, keyword and do things. But yeah.
No, I mean, that's such sound advice.
All over the place. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it wasn't. It was actually, directly there. I think that's important for anybody. Even when I started my podcast channel, I mean, I was very rigid. My first interview, my second interview, I was trying to be very, I had my questions written out. But, this is now episode 9, I think. And, I feel a lot more relaxed at it, and, having that back and forth conversation. So I think what the advice here is, start, don't worry, and you'll get better. Like anything in life, you keep practicing and you'll get better. And so I appreciate that advice. And I know you talked about YouTube Shorts. We'll get to that in a minute. But, when we talk about people who create content out there, specifically businesses, we know a lot of it is online course creators, influencers, and those types of content creators that are out there that are really camera front facing. But there are a lot of traditional businesses out there: restaurants, accountants, insurance agents, real estate brokers. How can they use YouTube to leverage their business?
Yeah, like if you own a restaurant and you don't want to be the face of your restaurant, maybe it's getting your staff to talk about it, or maybe getting customers to give testimonials and videos of testimonials of their experience in the restaurant. Same with insurance or real estate. With real estate, it's showing properties or talking about the neighborhood. You could voice over the neighborhoods.
No, I appreciate that. And I think that's important, right? To think outside the box, because I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, there was a small accounting company based, I think, out of Florida. It was a two-person office, and they just started talking about PPP loans, right? Because everyone wanted answers.
Yeah.
And whatever they were able to find, the little information that was coming out early on about it, they just did YouTube videos and they ended up having hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So I think as long as you can showcase what you bring to the table or bring value and content, doesn't matter what your business is, people will find it and you'll get customers out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, speak with passion, speak what you know. I mean, people resonate with that. And we all know the know, like, and trust factor. That's YouTube videos give that. It gives you the sense of, the person already before you're going to do business with them and they see you. And that's why it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, that's why I like the lives. Maybe you flub up, maybe you and all, maybe your kid comes running in the room behind you. Maybe, something goes wrong. Like right before our thing, my light fell over and I was like, ah, that's why I was racing around. Things happen, but that makes you more human. Like if you're like, hi, my name's Brandy Sweezy and I do YouTube advertising, and like the people are like, yeah, and we're out, right? But if something funny were, and not to, if you're funny, then be funny. But stuff happens, right? And let that happen. Like
Let it happen.
yeah, 'cause that's who you resonate with. The imperfection, right? The humanity of a person. That's really what you're going to resonate with. And so that's why I like the less perfect, the better, because they see you struggling, they see you're nervous, they see, and they're like, oh, you too? All right. You're my person, you know?
Perfection is imperfection, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. Right.
that's my motto. So appreciate that advice.